Big secret in the pool world is every bank has like a back room with pool tables in it. And the big, like, national banks, they have the best equipment. They have diamond pool tables, and predator pool cues hanging right there on the wall. But take your own stick so they know why you're there. And, just carry it on your back like you're out there hustling USA. Yep. And just, like, walk right by the tellers. Go in the back room, where they keep all security boxes and the cash and stuff, and just poke around. You'll eventually find them pool tables back there somewhere. Big secret. Bad. Players are bad. Bunch of freaking vagabonds. I'll play anybody who's not wearing a Hustling USA shirt, because those guys, man, that's some tough action. Even one guy had a hat on, he had a glove that said Hustling USA and stuff. I was like, wow. Dude, you just missed 5 shots in a row, but you ain't fooling me, dude. I know you're Hustling USA. Anyone know where I can get a Hustle in the Philippines shirt? You can get a nice hotel room in the Philippines for like $10, US dollars a night. Yeah. There's some wisdom for you. Hustle in the Philippines. Come on, Boosty. Let's go there for it. I'm here to hustle your asses. I want all of them. That's right. Heading out there tomorrow and hustle the Philippines. Bring some money, boss. It's a prison. I got in trouble for shooting a man in Albuquerque because he missed a straight-in bank. He said he did his best, but I said, dude, if that's your best. Yeah, it's a prison in North Tennessee. One time, the problem with your question, and a lot of people have asked me this, do people come looking for me? They want to play and they discourage gambling. They don't want any gambling in there. Because, as we all know, that leads to problems. And if you want to watch this tape, you can see the problems that it leads to. And they don't want that crap there. And there's qualifications to get in anyway. You won't be able to just walk in there and play pool. I'm not saying that you yourself are going to do that, but if I answer your question, and there are going to be players coming and looking for me. And, it's one of those things, don't call me, I'll call you. I come looking for you. There's a lot of, I don't want to, if there's a tournament somewhere, right, and you're wanting to get in, but you don't get in because, all the big dogs, all the pros are there. So, you're just going to waste your money, or that's your thought process. You're thinking all wrong, man. So let's say the entry fee is $50, and it's like, oh, I'm not going to get in because I don't have a chance. You're thinking wrong. You're thinking like a wuss there. And let's say your first match is Skylar Woodward, right? And you're thinking you just wasted your $50. You didn't, because Skylar's not going to play you a set for $50. You're actually getting a bargain of a lifetime. And then you're still in it just because you're on the left side of the board. You get to grind out with all the losers of the first round. So it eases up on you, and now you're building your confidence and you're coming back, and then, you got to play, another big dog on the left side. So you're getting 2 sets of the best guys in the world for $50, man. You cannot beat that deal. These guys are not going to waste time playing you for $50 a set, unless it's a tournament like this. You can't beat that, man, and you're getting the experience that really is invaluable. How do you... Yeah, that's a good question. You gotta get a little creative and a little imaginative. Keep records of... you can go out and play straight pull, practice straight pull, and just keep records of your high run and continue to try to break your high run. And that'll make it a little bit more exciting. Instead of playing the ghost and taking ball in hand after the break, if you're practicing 9-ball, play the pro ghost, but don't call him the ghost, call him... imagine you're playing Shane Van Boning, and don't take ball in hand after the break. And see how many racks you can run. And this will force you to focus more on your break, because most amateur players, they cut the cue ball loose on the break, and they can't put a 2-pack together unless they get really lucky. And it's not about luck, it's about skill. And a big part of that skill is controlling the break. So yeah, don't just imagine yourself playing some weird ghost. Imagine yourself playing Shane, Skylar, Jason, all these big guns, and try not to let them get to the table. And if you do have to let them to the table, make sure they're locked up and as safe as you can get them. I know it gets boring. I had a big problem with this, where I wouldn't go out unless I had an opponent to play, because I would get incredibly bored. It's a big problem. Keep notes on your weaknesses and what you're struggling with, and go out and practice those things. And don't just, make it one time and say, okay, I conquered it. Make it like 100 times in a row. And see, I think the biggest thing is to be imaginative and creative here, because Rodney Moore said it better than me, where when he hit the pros and he went out and started playing all the big dogs, it wasn't nothing to him, because in his mind he had already beaten these guys, and he knew what it took to beat them and what level he needed to get to. So he had imagined himself playing all these guys and beating them consistently. So when he actually faced Shane and all these big guys, it was just another day in the park, because he had already beaten them in his head. So, problem with doing nothing but playing other players, which is a whole hell of a lot more fun, is that you're going to slip right back into what you're comfortable with and continue repeating bad habits instead of working on what you need to work on. I think the biggest thing is if you go at the table just by yourself, you know, you're somewhere, even if it's in your house, and just playing by yourself, don't just get up there and play. Get up and try to beat yesterday's record. And that'll tell you without a shadow of a doubt that you are improving, which is inspiring, which will keep you practicing. That's the best advice I can give. Make it a challenge. That's what you're doing with. You're competitive, and you're not creating a challenge against whether it's yourself or Jason or whoever. So you have to practice while competing, even if it's just your imagination. My high run is a 6-pack, including a break without ball in hand, is a 6-pack. And that's why I named my cat 6-pack. Every time you see me making these videos by myself, I'm trying to run a 7-pack or an 8-pack or a 9 or 10-pack. I'm always trying to beat my own record, and that's what keeps me going back to it. It's not. And at the same time, I'm practicing any weakness. Like if I dog a ball or just get bad shape, I'll run the rack until I dog it. And then whether it was a ball before and I got bad shape on that ball or whatever it was, I'll focus in on that and, stop recording and just keep focusing on that. So next time I'm faced with that I've been here a million times. I know what to do here. And my plan here was to start organizing this while answering your guys' questions, but then I get so focused in on the question that I forget about that stuff. I'm a mess, man. Where do I play? What is this place? This is the Luther Lassiter Psychiatric Center for Crazy Pool Players. Hockey pucks just these wheels you see here. As you probably know, because I mentioned it 100 times, I'm restoring a VW Bug, and I'll be setting the body down. And when you're rebuilding from the ground up a VW Bug, you take the body off. The frame of the car, the basic structure of the car, and you leave the engine in there. Some people try to drop the engine down, they jack up the whole car and pull the engine down, and you can do that. But it's a whole lot easier just to lift the body up and off the car. But you have to put them on rollaway things, under each wheel. Anyway, that's what I'm doing with these. I'm making those rollaway things so you can just take the body. One person can just swing the whole car around and do what they have to do. And, you don't want to lay it on the ground. So I'm building those today, as if you needed to know that. There's two different ways of thinking. So yeah, it can be difficult to it's like all two different worlds. So you know, it can be extremely difficult, especially if you're just bouncing back and forth. 8-ball takes more creative thinking and more. See, you don't have any options in 9-ball. You break the balls and you have to shoot this ball and then that ball and then. So with 9-ball, it's much more. It's a rhythmic game. Once you see the patterns, you have to do it in order. So it's best to see all 9 shots first and where you want to be on all 9 shots. And then it's just your rhythm takes over and you just do it. Kind of like a programmed robot does things. With 8-ball, it's a little bit more difficult. There's more clusters to break out, there's more thinking, there's more strategy, there's more planning. And more decision making. So, yeah, see, I'm so used. I did a lot of nitty hustling when I was younger, and I just got used to switching back and forth all the time. Because some guys wanted to play 9-ball, some guys wanted to play 8-ball, and believe it or not, some guys wanted to play 6-ball. I'm hitting on 6-ball coming up. I have a video on 6-ball. I just haven't, put it all together yet. It's an old hustler's game. I love playing 6-ball, but don't ever play with a good player. You're just going to, a really, really good player. It's guaranteed money, man. And I'll show you why else. I don't want to post anything bad or teach people how to hustle on YouTube. It's a sure way of them, knocking you off. But it is a hustler's game. I love playing 6-ball. And anyway, why do I keep getting off topic? Just practice doing it. Play when you're by yourself and just practice and just switch back and forth. Get in that mindset. If you're gonna be a full player and you're gonna be entering tournaments, you're either gonna be playing 9-ball or 8-ball. There's not a whole lot of one-pocket tournaments. So, you're gonna have to learn how to play both. Dave Matlock was an incredible bar table 8-ball player, and 9-ball. He was incredible pool player. His best game was 8-ball. He didn't really impress me in that. He did sometimes, but a lot of guys probably don't know too much about Dave. He was the best bar table player in America for years and years. Many considered him unbeatable, especially playing 8-ball on a bar table. So yeah, I guess a hard question to answer, and this is probably a really shitty answer, but when you're out practicing and play the first game 8-ball, the second game 9-ball, the third game 8-ball, the fourth game 9-ball, just keep switching back and forth. It's a tough question. So it almost takes like 2 totally different personalities. You just kind of have to flake on and flake on some more. It's just like a Jekyll and Hyde type thing. I don't know. So everyone has 3 different personalities, and I'm not going to get into all this psychiatry shit, so you don't have to worry about it. At point one personality to play in 9-ball and 1 personality to play in 8-ball. And people just think you're psychotic and nuts, but it's cool. People like psychotic nuts. As long as you're not dangerous. My viewers ask the best questions. Case closed. These guys making these videos on bank shots telling you that there's some scientific mathematical way to calculate a bank shot are full of shit and hustling you. And I hate to be rude about that, but you know. See, the issue is you have a lot of factors in there. Even if you have a straight dead-end bank shot where you're not going to impart any English and you're not going to put any English on the cue ball, and different routes play differently. Some are softer than others. You have table lengths, and you have the speed of the shot is a big factor. When you hit an object ball on the side of the object ball, you're putting English on that object ball, right? So if you hit an object, if you shoot the cue ball, even if you're putting no English on the cue ball and you're hitting the object ball on the side of the ball. It's spinning the cue ball. If you hit on the right, it's spinning it counterclockwise. If you hit it on the left, it's spinning the object ball clockwise. Okay, so you can't get out of this if you're shooting a bank shot that's not dead perfectly straight in. And that English that you're imparting on the object ball is going to make a massive difference in how that object ball comes off that route. So it's actually about feel more than it is some scientific, some guy was selling bank shot calculators years ago, which was a piece of plexiglass with 4 lines on it. And he scammed this as the big secret of calculating bank shots and where you need to hit them. But he's not factoring the table speed, he's not factoring in the cloth, he's not factoring the rouse, he's not factoring anything. He's not, are you hitting the object ball on the side of the ball, or are you hitting it dead straight in? And a dead straight in bank shot is very, very rare. And the speed that you shoot the shot, if you need to get back down table or back up table and you need to hit a little bit of speed on the shot, the rail is going to give a little bit and it's going to push back out in like a billionth of a second, and you're not going to be able to see it with the naked eye, but the rail's giving and then pushing. Okay, and it's like some skanky girl kicking you out of her apartment. And how hard is she going to kick you out of her apartment? Is she going to scream at you? Is she going to call the cops? Before you get up to shoot it, visualize yourself, see yourself doing it before you actually get down on it and actually feel it and believe it. And it goes a long way. I know that sounds hokey. See it, feel it, and believe it. And see the line coming off the route. So another thing that plays a factor in this is how far the object ball is off the route. There's just so many factors here. You have to know how the table's playing. so you know how to hit the object ball. And not every situation is the same either, especially when you're playing banks. I don't know if you guys play much bank, but you have to get shape on the next bank. So each shot you shoot, you know, it's going to depend on how much English you put on the ball and how hard you hit the ball. That factors into getting shape on the next bank. So, I mean, if every bank shot was the same, I could give you a calculated scientific mathematical response here. You know, D14 minus 15, you know, all this shit that these guys are trying to pull over on you because they're trying to get views, which is really cheap. I mean, if you need YouTube to make money, dude, you got bigger problems than your pool game. But even more than seeing it and feeling it and believing it, you have to believe in yourself. You have to have confidence. And you got to figure out how that table's playing and how the rounds are playing. And you have to practice it. You can't just talk about it. You have to practice it. And the more you practice, the better you get. You hit a lot of balls. You get out there every day and you hit a lot of balls and you shoot a lot of balls. And while you're shooting them, you're figuring out what you're doing wrong. Is your arm not in line? Is your wrist twisting? Are you taking your eye off the ball? And you have to fix those things. You can't just practice them. You have to get your mind involved and figure out what you're doing wrong when you're doing something wrong. And it pulls a never-ending learning process. And I'll tell you that if you walk up to any one of these big guns and you ask them if they're still learning, they're going to tell you they're still learning. So you have to accept that as a way of life where you're always going to be, even when you're the best in the world, you're always going to be learning and progressing. It doesn't end. You don't get to the top of the mountain in your learning process. Well, you can always be better, and that's the great thing about pool is it's not the same thing over and over again, although it looks like that to the fans sometimes. You have a new situation every time you break the balls. So you have all these new sets of problems every time you get done to break. That's the greatest thing about it. You never conquer it. There's never a point where you have mastered the game of pool. So just accept that as a way of life for you and go about it like that. That was a great answer. Sorry, I'm getting a little pissy. I just hate scammers, man. I mean, and here's the situation. This is the third highest participation sport, not just in America, but in the world, which means millions and millions and millions and millions of people play this game. And we have like 10 pros making a living, and we have about 200 pros trying to compete. The rest of them are just a sea of people struggling with their pool game. Millions and millions and millions of people, and that's where the big market is. So if you buy my magic pool glove, guaranteed not to miss. You know, I mean, they're scamming. They're fucking scamming out there. And they have a massive market to do it. Because there's more people that don't know than do know. And so they don't care if people like me know they're scamming because there's millions of people telling them they're awesome. Thank you for your magic bank shot secret. There ain't none. And there's no aiming system either. That's a bunch of scammy shit by guys who wanted views so they could make a couple of dollars on YouTube. You don't have to believe me. Go see what John Schmidt says in that tar video where they talk to these guys. What was John playing? Corey Deuel and John Schmidt were, being interviewed by Tar before their big match. And, you know, John's one of the most honest pool players out there today. And he'll flat up tell you the truth, you know, whether you like it or not. So you got to respect that. Go watch that interview and you'll see that I'm not saying anything he didn't already say. And it's true. And see, people don't know this until their game graduates. Most people never get anywhere near the top. So they go through their life thinking that there's this big secret. And a lot of it is just justifying their own failure. Now, I didn't fail because I didn't know the big secret. I didn't have a bank shot calculator. You know, I didn't know the aiming system. I mean, come on, guys. So with that little hissy fit, I had to get that. So somebody had, well, John already said it, and some other guys said it too. And some guys play, some other pros play them because they're being sponsored, and it's like, yeah, well, if you don't have a Q-Tech, you're never going to win. You know, so they're making money off that. The big guns who aren't sponsored or don't have a lot of sponsors, they'll tell you the truth because, you know, they got nothing to lose. Peace, guys. Sorry I went on a rant there. It's a mega church. Yeah. It's for Muslim pool players. Mega church, you got a pool. It's in Wichita. Wichita. Yep. This is actually a wrench. Socket wrench. I don't know where the hell I got it. Check this out. Anybody know what this is? Some kind of lever action. Put a pipe on there, you'd probably break any nut loose. Not about. I don't know where this came from. People sneak in here in the middle of the night and they give me tools. I must put this in a bracket file. Just looked at it. And I got to looking at it. I was like, wow. Cool. Very cool. We need a new file for switches. Got a bunch of switches laying around here because I just rebuilt all the interiors. I didn't rebuild them, I went out and bought new switches for the interior, but I want to keep the old ones because there's little parts in here that you sometimes need. You know, if this would be broken off, you need a new one of these, pop that up. So now I have 3 projects in I'm supposed to be working. The 64 VW Beetle Rust Bucket. I've got the Lincoln Town Car, what is it? 92 Classe. And 98 Chevy Silverado truck, which is just a work truck, but I think I'm gonna start taking better care of it. 3, and I gotta be done these by the end of summer. And the VW's ground up. The Lincoln's almost done, so that's cool. I love it in here because I don't know, I just feel comfortable in here. It's just me. I mean, everywhere you look, it's me. So the idea is if you need anything at all, to be able to walk in here and find it within 30 seconds and get back out there and work because time is wonderful. It's come a long dang way. Not really. Got a whole new system. Yeah, a whole new system. It's a college, just a college campus of, well, I've taken my pool videos to a whole new level and created a college of pool players, and that's what you're seeing in the video. It's my new college, Dr. John's College. Well, it's a casino. It's a casino. It's in a museum in Georgia. Yeah, Georgia. Albany, Georgia. Yeah, well, you have to be a certified hippie to get in. So, you know, if you're not a hippie, stop you at the door. So at work, we got the plate here on our lunch break. I make the My Pillow. It's at the My Pillow factory. Toughest pool city in America is Houston, Texas. Buddy Hall when I was young, and now, you know, I don't like Josh Filler because, you know, I mean, he's an arrogant dick, but you can't help but respect his 9-ball game and his 10-ball game. I don't know, I like Skyler's whole outlook on life and his attitude. I don't know, man. It was never, yeah, Earl Strickland hits the gear, he's incredible, but he's hitting those gears less and less and less, you know. I like guys like Benny Conley, guys who ran the roads, Eugene Browning, John Broombeck. Wasn't a world-class, world-beaten champion, but Tony Moget. Guys who were out there grinding, they influenced me more than the pros ever did. There was definitely Buddy when I was young, Buddy Hall. Here comes my cat, I gotta go.